IPMNation.com.
This is Abbie Morin, and you're listening to Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet and IPM Nation.
Welcome, everyone, to Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet and IPMNation.com on the live station. I am Matt Connerton, and we are here this week at the studio at 50 Canal Street in downtown Laconia, of course, where we do the show every week. Funky little gift shop and art gallery. Please come in and check it out. If you haven't yet, I always say, please support not only local music, but local businesses. Very, very important. And always grateful to Melissa for letting us do the show here every week at the studio. And the studionh.com is the website, if I didn't mention it already. And also, of course, we're sponsored by Central NH Events. If you need a DJ for your event, you can go to centralnhevents.com. Tim Martin does a great job and is a big part of what makes this show possible. And, of course, Matt Marcil at Tweak Sound and Mastering. If you need some recording done, some engineering, production, mastering, all of that. Matt Marcil does a great job. Tweaksound.com is the website. He's right in Concord, New Hampshire. And, of course, we're sponsored by Sonic Wallpaper. And Ryan LeMay recently packed up and moved that whole operation to Laconia. And they do a great job providing music lessons to folks who might not otherwise be able to afford them, and are really doing a lot for the community. So that's a great thing. And we have with us, actually, this is a first on Local Outbreak. We have someone joining us via phone. Abbie Morin is on the line with us. How are you, Abbie?
I'm great. How are you?
Very good. And I should explain, the reason we're doing this by phone is you're currently on tour, but you are going to be coming here at the studio. You'll be playing on Tuesday, September 15th at 6 p.m. at the studio in Laconia, so which is nice. Do you know if you're, I should have asked you this before, but do you know if you're playing in the studio itself or if you're playing an outdoor set? Because Melissa does have that beautiful space in the back there. I don't know if you guys talked about the logistics of it yet or not.
Yeah, I suppose it'll depend on Mother Nature.
On the weather,
and
yeah.
How we're feeling once fall rolls around. It seems pretty unreal that we're coming right up into the fall season. I know. It's been a really, really crazy summer. So
yeah. I was just thinking last night. You know, it was already completely dark by 8 p.m. It was like, oh, yeah, summer's slipping away.
Yeah.
So why don't we play something, and then we'll come back and we'll talk. And you've got, is it a full-length album that you have out now?
Yeah, it's got 7 tracks on it, and it's our debut album. We released it in January. It's called Shadowproof.
Okay. And
let's start out with the first track on it. It's a single, and it's called Better Half.
Better Half. All right, very good. So this is Better Half from Abbie Morin here on Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet and IPM Nation.
Was it this the end, the brilliant plan and every explanation? Left too rough, just a tough in my hide, couldn't touch me with your basket. I was a hot girl, but I threw my own soul with too much imagination. If I have to go, I won't go until I leave you with my better half. If I have to go, I won't go until you seep into my till I was steady. If I have to go, I'll roll till I leave you with a better half. If I have to go, I won't go until you sing it to me. If you have to go, I hope you leave me on the lights of New York City. If you have to go, I hope you'll stay until the morning. I don't want to go. I don't want to. I don't wanna go. I don't want to. I don't wanna go. I don't wanna go.
Hi, this is Ryan LeMay from the New Prophets, and I'd like to tell you about a program called Sonic Wallpaper, which is donation-based guitar lessons offered at the Laconia Community Center every Wednesday night from 6 to 8 o'clock. Sign up directly at the Community Center, call, or go on their website for more information, or email me at thenewprophets@gmail.com. I'd also like to thank our sponsors, Body Health, Massage and Wellness, BluePlanetCMS.com, Jennifer's Color Bar, German Motorsports, George Chiquette, Rob Reed, Bob Rice, The New Prophets, Manchester Music Mill, and Abbott Business Networks.
Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet and the IPM Nation live station. Of course, you can hear this show every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And also, of course, there is a replay Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern. And we do archive all the shows at ipmnation.com/local outbreak, going all the way back to the beginning. So we've been doing this for 6 years now. It's hard to believe. But they are all there. You can stream them, download them, keep them forever and ever at ipmnation.com/local outbreak. And our guest this week is Abbie Morin. And Abbie, you used to live in New Hampshire, correct?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Laconia, and I went to school up in Plymouth State. And after that, I moved to Burlington, Vermont. I've been living there for almost 2 years, and now I'm kind of have no address, no home state. Well, I have a home state, but I'm kind of floating right now.
Yeah, we'll talk about that because that's interesting. But so let me ask you first, what was it that sent you up to Burlington? Is it the music scene there? I've never spent much time there. I've been there, but everyone's always talking about that. There's a really good music scene actually in Burlington, Vermont. Is that why you went up there?
Totally. I mean, it's got all of the features that I love about New Hampshire. It's got the lake, it's got the mountains, it's got kind of that friendly New England culture. But then there's just like this beautiful pocket where this beautiful music scene can exist. It's surrounded by a bunch of colleges, so there's really a demand for live music 7 days a week, and any night of the week at any time that you want to find some quality music, you can find it. And my sister went to school up there. She's also from Laconia. She went to UVM, and I was kind of looking for a place to go, and she said, just move here. I know you'll love it. So that's what I did.
When you tell people that about the music scene in Burlington, do you find that some people are surprised? Because it seems like it's almost kind of the best kept secret of New England that it makes sense with the colleges there, but are people surprised sometimes when they go, really, there's an actual vibrant music scene in Burlington?
Sometimes people are surprised, but there have been, of course, like the obvious standouts like Fish, and now you've got, Grace Potter. She got her start in Burlington.
Right.
I think she started like 10 years ago with a residency at Nectar's, which I just had my residency at Nectar's in January. So
yeah.
It feels kind of close. She's opening up for the Rolling Stones now. So, and you wouldn't believe, like, the musical acts that are coming through this area are just amazing. We just had Neil Young. Modest Mouse is about to come in the fall. It's really, but it's kind of an anomaly because it's not really close to anything. So
For those listeners who don't know, can you define residency? Because not everyone knows what that means in terms of music and touring.
A residency means when you kind of have like a weekly show at one of the bars in town. And when we were releasing the album Nectars, which is one of the biggest clubs in Vermont, had us play every Wednesday of January for our album release.
That's fantastic.
It was very exciting. It was a good kickoff to 2015.
Was it challenging at all to really kind of infiltrate the Burlington scene? I know, like with Boston, for example, me being here in New Hampshire, I talk to musicians all the time, and actually you probably heard a lot of this yourself since you're from here originally. People complain about Boston being very kind of cliquey and difficult to get into, and I've seen some of that up close myself, and I'm wondering, what was Burlington like when you first went there? I mean, obviously you were able to make some pretty good inroads because you got the residency at Nectar. That's huge. But what was it like when you first got there?
It was so very welcoming. I really couldn't believe it. I moved there in September of 2013, and I had a band together we played our first show together in December, so I really came on the scene, but people call me all the time like an aggressively friendly person, and I'm not afraid to approach anybody, and most of the people that I played with, I kind of just like introduced myself on the sidewalk and decided early on the type of people I wanted to play with me, and it worked out really amazingly well. But I hear from the other people in the scene as well that there's really something for everybody. You know, there's Metal Mondays, and there's folk nights, and singer-songwriter circles, and soul bands. It's really a vibrant community, and there's lots of local music festivals that will host like 100 local bands in a weekend, and it really is an inclusive environment for everybody to succeed in Burlington. I would suggest that over Boston, certainly.
Do you think it being such a college town has something to do with that? Because obviously, I know from my own experience working in radio, working with college stations, you have an audience that's very, in terms of not the audience of the stations, although certainly that as well, but in terms of the kids that work at these stations, you're dealing with people who are very enthusiastic about hearing new music, a variety of genres, and really actively supporting that. And I'm wondering if that's part of what it is in Burlington, because it's such a college town. You've got people who, even if they're not necessarily musicians themselves, they're really actively trying to foster that environment.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it. And then I also think it's, Vermont and Burlington in general is like really centered around local goods and local food and local businesses, and I think that is like really tied in with the art scene as well. I think it creates like a really kindred spirit around in town when everyone's kind of helping each other out and supporting each other in all sorts of different ways. I think it's a good place to start a small business or a passion project of like really any kind, because people are really wanting to reach out and support those kind of things in Vermont. Yeah.
So this might be kind of an obvious question, but how's the winter? How does it compare with here? Is it about the same, or is I would imagine it would be slightly worse, but maybe I'm just cynical.
It is slightly worse, I've noticed, because Burlington is so walkable that even when it's like negative 25 degrees and like snowing, everyone just acts like nothing is happening. Kind of like New Hampshire, I'm kind of used to like everything getting canceled, and that's just not the case in Burlington. You're not going to get a snow day, most likely.
That's interesting.
But I don't really ski or snowboard. That is kind of like a huge reason why people stick through the winter. But I consider winter to be my writing season. So
yeah. When you went up there, was it just you, or did you bring any sort of a band with you, or did you just go up there by yourself?
Accompanying me is my collaborator and electric guitarist, Thomas Perrow. He's born and raised in Vermont. He's a really great guy. He's got a lot of magic. And then also our violin player, Shay Gestel.
Okay.
And then the manager of our band and kind of our video recorder and booking agent and kind of like the team mom, Jenna Brower. So there's 4 of us.
Okay, excellent. And as far as the touring dates that you're doing, is it always all of you, or is it ever just you for some of these shows, or how does that work?
It's going to be, it's always me and Tom as a duo, and we kind of started planning the tour as a duo. In Burlington, we have on our full list for 7 pieces, but I felt that was a really, really big group to bring on the road and keep everyone fed and happy. So I decided to simplify and pare it down, at least for this first one. But then it so happened that my violinist was actually headed out to Boulder, Colorado the same time in her car that we were leaving. So we just told her if she wanted to hop on the train that she should. And so she'll be playing down to Asheville with us before she's got to make her way over to Boulder.
Well, it's cool, too, that, you're doing the kind of music where you have that kind of flexibility, because not everyone does. Like, if you play in a metal band, you can't just say, well, maybe we'll add a couple people on these shows, and maybe we'll do. I mean, granted, sometimes bands will try to do an acoustic thing, but with the genre that you're working in, you really kind of have that flexibility, which I would think too, kind of probably keeps it more interesting for you. If
absolutely,
getting to play these songs on different ways, in different ways on different shows.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why we're having so much success when we were in Burlington, because we could play the smallest room in town just as me solo or as a duo, or we can play like the big clubs on a Saturday night. And one thing that I hear from our fans a lot is that they never know what to expect when they come to a show, because they all just get billed as Abbie Morin. So they never know what to expect. And my reply is that I never know what to expect either. It really does keeps the songs fresh. When you make an album and it all starts to kind of get a little like, well, these are my old songs, but to everyone else, they're not old songs, they're new songs. So as an artist, it's kind of good to find ways to refresh those musical moments and have new musical moments even in songs that I wrote 4 years ago.
Sure, that makes sense. Well, we should play something else from your disc, and then when we come back, I want to talk to you about kind of hitting the road full time as you have, because that's a pretty big step that you've taken, and you had referenced that earlier, and I definitely want to talk about that. But before we do, let's play another track from the album. What do you want to play?
Sure. We're going to play track number 2. It's called Cadmium.
Okay.
And cadmium is an element on the periodic table, and it's used to make paint, and it's used to make yellow paint. And I like it because it's used to make something very beautiful, but it's also, as we know, quite toxic. So this is cadmium.
All right, so we'll take a listen, and then we'll be right back with Abbie Morin.
no one knows about the rubble pile inside me. Troubled stand and try to float, heavy growing pain shackle me beneath my clothes, pull the tighter ropes around me. 59 side.
Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet and IPM Nation, and this is Matt Connerton talking tonight with Abbie Morin, who is going to be in the area local to us on September 15th, playing at the Studio, which is where we do this show every week, the Studio at 50 Canal Street in downtown Laconia. So Abbie will be playing there at 6 p.m. And then you've got a second Laconia show the next night. I forget where that is.
It's at T-Bones, where I actually used to work.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I used to work there, and then they did me a favor the summer I was working there, and let me take my Sundays off to play on their patio every Sunday. And
oh, cool.
It was really helpful and nice, because I don't think they really had been doing live music before, and they kind of made arrangements for me, and they've always been so supportive of me and my music. So I thought it would be nice to go back and see everybody again. Everyone there is always so nice. So
that's very cool. Especially since, not as artistic people generally, I think, are aware and have experienced at some points, employers are not always supportive and helpful with endeavors that are outside of your job that you're doing for them. You know what I mean? So it's really cool that they did that for you. So that's awesome. So shout out to T-Bones. So talk to me about, and I'd seen something about this on Facebook, just kind of selling everything and hitting the road full time. And you referenced it earlier too, not really, you are you're from here, and then you moved to Burlington, but you kind of mentioned not really having a home technically currently.
Yeah, that's technically, I'm homeless right now.
Yeah.
That word seems a little dramatic, because I'm certainly not sleeping on the sidewalk. I have a lot of friends, and everyone's been so gracious, but I don't have an address right now, which can make it kind of difficult when you're wanting to renew your license or something.
Yeah,
it's hard to know what to say. But yeah, I've sold just about everything. My parents maybe begged to differ on the stuff I decided to keep and store in the basement, but and I quit my job. I used to be a cleaning lady in Burlington, so I had my last day as a cleaning lady and hitting the road.
Yeah. So that decision, was it something that you had thought about for a long time? Was it more of a spontaneous thing? I mean, what went into the decision itself to do that?
I think it's something since graduating college, probably even before, I've just had such wanderlust, and I've really wanted to see the country, and I've kind of kept saying well, I can't go out until I have an album, and then I can't go out until maybe I have a band, or until I have this much money. But then once I had the album, I was really I could wait for the perfect circumstances to go out and see the country forever, and they may never come. So I've just got to do this. And I just decided to let my lease run out and to not sign another one, and just kind of make a plan. I think that's kind of where I'm at, is I have everything I need except for just the ability to be able to spread my wings and meet people and create that infrastructure and those fan bases in other places besides just New Hampshire and Vermont. So got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I pulled up the Facebook page and I'm looking, and it looks like you're going. You're going all the way out to. You mentioned it before, all the way out to Boulder.
We're actually going all the way out to Seattle. We're still working on booking that last leg up to Seattle.
Yeah.
So we'll have some more dates to announce in the next coming weeks. It's pretty amazing, because right now I'm thinking about filling in December. It just seems so far away, but that's kind of the way that you've got to operate when you're playing a tour. You've got to be living in the future and then getting ready for your show later that night. It's kind of a strange feeling.
Yeah, I bet. Do you have any kind of a timetable as for how long you want to be out on tour? Because then it'll also be obviously a big step when you reach that point where you decide maybe you will put down roots somewhere at some point, or are you just kind of focused on keeping this going, staying on the road?
Our loose plan, which will take us out to maybe a little less than a year from now, we're going to take kind of like that northern route back and maybe a little bit quicker than we went out, and we'll be back on the East Coast. My partner, Jenna, her family has a house out in Long Beach Island, New Jersey, that no one uses in the off-season, so we'll be setting up kind of our makeshift studio there on the winter ocean, and we'll be working on the second album over the winter and just resting and just kind of reflecting on all the places that we went, and I think from there we'll be in a good spot to make a decision on what we want to do next.
Yeah. So you had mentioned your parents earlier. I mean, what was their reaction when you told them you wanted to do this? Were they? I mean, I assume they're supportive, but were they?
Oh, they're so supportive.
That's great.
I think they're excited for me. I couldn't ask for more supportive parents. I mean, even when I went to college for acting, and I've always kind of been more prone to more creative and less maybe like practical ways of living and trying to make a life, but they're really so supportive. My mom is a really creative person, and really so is my dad. And
are they both musicians?
What?
Are they both musicians as well, or?
Yeah, my mom is a musician, and my dad, maybe not a musician, but he's always integrated music into everyday life. He's always like singing songs to our dogs, and he was always like making up funny songs at the table. And I've felt like they've done nothing but cultivate this adventurous side of me, and
they
really trust the crew I'm traveling with. So
that's good. That's really good.
Yeah, my sister actually just bought an 18-stop train ticket, and she'll be traveling the country at the same time as us, but like in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
And she's going by herself, so I think that they are. I think they might be a little nervous, but they're excited for us.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And the album that you have now, where was that recorded?
It was recorded at Signal Kitchen Studios in Burlington, Vermont.
Okay. I feel like I've heard of that. Is there do a lot of other artists record there? The name is familiar to me.
They do a lot of they're like a venue mostly, and then they have a studio where a few people have recorded, and then they just opened up a new studio out in Craftsbury, Vermont, which is like the Northeast Kingdom. It's really out in the middle of nowhere.
Okay, I was going to say I haven't heard of that
style studio.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool. All right.
So they're doing great stuff right now.
Yeah, that's really good. Do you do the entire? I assume you're playing the entire album at most stops on the tour.
Yeah, we play most of the songs on the album, but I'm always really excited to play my new songs that I've been coming up with as well. So
yeah,
it's a nice healthy mixture.
Yeah. Do you write pretty consistently? I find a lot of people who kind of fall into that singer-songwriter thing tend to write a lot of music more than they can keep up with as far as recording.
Yeah. I write pretty consistently, although it's been a little hectic in planning the tour and trying to find time alone to really get the thoughts out and get them down.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that the experiences on the road will snap me out of that really quick.
Sure. Why don't we play another track from the disc?
Sure.
And again, we're going to just remind everybody, too, we're going to have the pleasure of hearing a lot of this live on September 15th right here at the studio in downtown Laconia. But let's hear something. What do you want to play next?
Sure. Let's play a track. It's called Buskers, and I wrote it while I was living in Provincetown, Massachusetts, for a little while. And it's that's a place where a lot of street musicians end up getting maybe a little bit stranded in the summer times, and all the people there that I met really seem to be searching for something. So I always dedicate that song to them.
Interesting. Okay. Well, let's take a listen. So this is Buskers from Abbie Morin here on Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet and IPM Nation, and then we'll come back and talk a little more.
a button with a picture of his son. He died 30 years ago. Don't care for eating when the whiskey's fall. His eyes were red and wet. Sitting up in running tight, I lost my boy and never can recall a single place I've been. Dangling out on a love. off like I'm feeling the floor's getting flimsy. Hunting for some words to lift me far from the time of the dark age. I'm searching for some soul to start me up.
Welcome back to Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet and IPM Nation. Just want to remind everybody, of course, that you can hear a new episode of Local Outbreak every Wednesday at 7 Eastern on both The Planet and on IPM Nation, with a replay on Saturday at 9. And, of course, we do archive all the shows at ipmnation.com/localoutbreak. And also want to remember to thank all our sponsors, of course, Central NH Events, Tweak Sound and Mastering, Sonic Wallpaper, and, of course, always very grateful to Melissa for letting us make our home base for Local Outbreak at the studio at 50 Canal Street in downtown Laconia. And not only do we record the show here every week, but Abbie, our guest, Abbie Morin, will be playing right here at the studio on September 15th at 6 p.m. So if you haven't been to the studio yet, and I always say, please support your local businesses as well as local music. Very important, but this is a great opportunity to do both. Abbie isn't currently from New Hampshire technically, but she did grow up here. And is that correct? Did I get that right? That you grew up here, or you lived? Did you just live here for a while, or before going to Burlington?
Yeah, no, I grew up in Laconia.
Okay,
and
okay.
I've actually known Melissa at the studio. I was best friends with her son since we were like in kindergarten.
Oh, no kidding.
I've known her like nearly forever, and she's just a wonderful, wonderful lady.
She is, absolutely, absolutely. Where should people go online who want to keep up with everything that you're doing? Because obviously people listen to this locally on the planet, but we also have a lot of people who listen from other parts of the country online. So for people who want to know where to go online, where should they go?
All right. They first and foremost can find me on Facebook. We're really active on Facebook, and there'll be lots of fun things that they can see while we're on the tour. Mm-hmm. And all you've got to do is be able to spell my name right, which isn't always as easy as it sounds. And it's ABBIEMORIN. And then you can also go to our website, which is abbiemorin.com. And on our website, you can sign up for our newsletter.
Okay. And what about for people who want to get the disc? Are there physical copies available, or do you just download it online? Or
there's you can download it online, but the physical copy it is in the CD form, and then also for the purists, we have pressed onto 12-inch vinyl records, which
awesome.
is really exciting, and I'm so glad that we did it.
Yeah, that's really cool. I know a lot of musicians who are, everything, of course, and people don't realize this, but all the major label stuff that comes out right now is also being pressed on vinyl.
Vinyl is coming on back, and it's really an exciting thing.
Yeah, and it's great to see independent artists also participating in that, because it's more difficult to do that when you don't have that sort of major label infrastructure to do that for you. But I'm glad to hear that you're doing that. That's really cool.
Yeah, totally. And I was able to do it through the support of my fans. Everyone that pre-released and helped us support through my Indiegogo campaign helped me to raise over $4,000.
Wow.
To produce the album and to have it printed. So this is very, very exciting, and I still have many copies left to be shared, so you can order those actually right through our website.
Excellent.
As well.
Well, Abbie, we'll be seeing you on the 15th at the studio, so we'll let you go for now. But before we do that, we'll play one more track to wrap up the show. What do you want to play?
Great. We're going to play the track Foxy. Okay. And the fox is my spirit animal, and I hope everyone enjoys it. It's been great talking to you, Matt. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely, Abbie. Thank you. And we will wrap up with Foxy from Abbie Morin here on Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet and IPM Nation.
my pen up, ready to float. Sometimes bodies all day to broke the mold. I'm just a miracle, I'm foxy. I'm not afraid. I try to stay, but I'm right. You know the reasons I stray. And I'm creeping up on the barricades. And I feel them melting away. But I can't keep thinking on a miracle by my eyes, staring straight into the light like shadowbox creating my mysterious as I try to form a mountain from this hill. And I'm sticking in the corner thinking clever, getting seriously hungry for something real. Watching all the rabbits fade, circles all around me, they blindly waste their time. I try to stay, but I'm not right. You know the reasons I stay. I'm creeping up on the barricades. I feel them melting away. I'm foxy. I'm foxy. I'm foxy. I'm
IPMNation.com.